What's going on, everyone? My name is Joe Ivan, and we are live on 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you all for tuning into the Weekly Cheese, the Pocono's #1 place for everything Green Bay Packer. Just as a reminder, everything you hear on the Weekly Cheese is my opinion, and nothing you hear reflects the views or opinions of 90.3 WESS or East Stroudsburg University. Now let's get into it.
We playing Dom Capers defense, Edgar Bennett offense. Run the table when they think we lost it. Aaron jumped the defense offset. We pulling upsets, we up next. Super Bowl City, we the suspect. Secure the trophy, bring Vince home. He should have been home. We end zone bound. They count us out, we scoring 10 touchdowns. Green and yellow on my jersey, ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. This a new season, new hope, new reason, new wide receivers, new bandwagon cheerleaders, but we don't need them. We over eager, meet the opposing team at the 50. We flipping quarters for sides, but whatever side that they give us, they know. Winning Wisco, it's a go pack go. We send your team back home, dreams and them schemes back home. Back home, we want our trophy back, we need the rings back. We need that Vincent back, we missing that. We brought the king back. Mr. Rogers, ain't no kidding play. No delay of game, he ran the table, he gon' make a way. Somebody get his cape, give him space, let him call a play. He audible and fake, that's why he great. Never play it safe, he all in for the game. And then it's Clay with the defense, Mason with the kicks, he never misrepresents. He's so convenient, believe in the process, it ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. Playing Dom Capers defense, Edgar Bennett offense. Run the table when they think we lost it. Aaron jumped the defense offset. We pulling upsets, we up next. Super Bowl City, we the suspect. Secure the trophy, bring Vince home. He should have been home. We end zone bound. They count us out, we scoring 10 touchdowns. Green and yellow on my jersey, ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. This a Packer country where your green card poppy. Ain't no options, gotta watch them. Fake fans been flocking, they phony. Root for the home team. Cheese heads only, home of the trophy. Hopefully we bring that trophy home safely. Ha, play the safety, playmaking, he make a difference. Offense go the distance, precision, we got a vision. We signed Martellus Bennett, wise decision, we here. Still beginning, time to get it, time to win it this year. No fear and no regrets, too many vets on the roster. Fact, the best is yet to come, we overcame all the obstacles. Anything's possible, be mindful of that. With Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson at the wide, we a threat. Put that pressure on them, lethal weapons on them, special teams on them, DBs on them, that defense. Believe in the process, it ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. Playing Dom Capers defense, Edgar Bennett offense. Run the table when they think we lost it. Aaron jumped the defense offset. We pulling upsets, we up next. Super Bowl City, we the suspect. Secure the trophy, bring Vince home. He should have been home. We end zone bound. They count us out, we scoring 10 touchdowns. Green and yellow on my jersey, ain't no mercy to get. It's controversy through this journey, but we in it to win. Secure the trophy.
And we are back. It's the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, and I'm your host, Joe Ivan. That song you just listened to was Secure the Trophy by Wisco Kyrie, a member of the Wisco Kids. And yeah, that's really been the song that's been getting me pumped up for this Packers postseason run. It is finally here. Super Wild Card Weekend has come. It is gone. And we now know the Green Bay Packers' path to Super Bowl 55. It's all laid out right in front of us. For the first time ever, there was 3 NFC wildcard games played this past weekend. There was the Washington football team took on Tampa Bay. The Saints took on the Bears. And Seattle played the Rams. It was obvious coming into the week that Washington was clearly outmatched by Tampa Bay, and that Chicago was not a playoff team. It was clear that Chicago was not a playoff team. And there was really just one question to be answered: Seattle or the Rams, the Seahawks or the Rams. If the Seahawks win, they go into New Orleans, and the Buccaneers would then come play Green Bay. But if the Rams win, they come to Green Bay, and they send Tampa Bay over to New Orleans. It was really the only question mark of the whole weekend for the playoffs, for the NFC playoffs, that is. And it really was it was a cool matchup to have in the first round. Seattle and LA obviously know one another. They play each other twice a year. They're divisional rivals. They split games this past season against one another. But really, coming into the game, Seattle was heavy favorites. It was just assumed that they would have no issue barreling through the Rams due to the Rams' whole quarterback issue, the quarterback situation going on over there in L.A. Goff obviously had that hand surgery on that broken thumb, that nasty-looking broken thumb, just 9 days before the game. So he had those pins put in there, and McVay ultimately deemed him a no-go. They went with Wolford, a guy named Wolford that I've never heard of. It was his first NFL start, his first NFL action, in fact. And unfortunately, poor Wolford went down in probably one of the worst ways imaginable for I'm sure growing up he envisioned his first time on an NFL field, and it started out probably going that way. He completed 3 of his first 6 passes. He started feeling himself a little bit. Then he decided to keep the ball scramble. Ended up giving himself up, not sliding, diving headfirst, and he got popped right in the helmet by Jamal Adams, ultimately giving him a stinger, and he had to get taken out in an ambulance. It was really a shame for Wolford, but it was up to Goff to come into the game with his hurt hand just 12 days after having his surgery, and he really didn't play particularly well. He completed under 50% of his pass attempts. He did throw a touchdown. Wasn't the worst stat line imaginable for all things considered. But he did not play particularly well. But due to the production of Cam Akers and the running game in general by the LA Rams, they ran the ball over 40 times as a team. That combined with the fact that their number 1 ranked scoring defense were just unstoppable against the Seahawks, they were able to secure the victory, send Seattle packing, an upset, a huge upset in the wild card weekend for the NFC. And the Rams earned themselves the honor of losing a playoff game at Lambeau Field next week. I really was not expecting this outcome. I could have sworn coming into this weekend that the Packers were going to be playing Tampa Bay. I was preparing myself for Tampa Bay. But we got the Rams, and honestly, I'm not upset about that. I'm a little worried, not going to lie, but it's a good worry to have before a playoff game. It's a normal playoff worry. But yeah, the NFC divisional round, Packers versus Los Angeles Rams, 4:25 on Saturday in the frozen tundra, Lambeau Field. The forecast for the game calls for highs in only the 20s, which honestly isn't quite as cold as I'm sure we were all hoping it would be. But it's definitely cold enough to give the Green Bay Packers that slight home field advantage, the advantage that is the frozen tundra. Before Christmas, the Rams did not play in one game with temperatures less than 60 degrees. Think about that. That's crazy. And since Christmas, they've only played 2 games in temperatures under 60 degrees. Both were in Seattle, and the temperatures for those games were 45 degrees and 39 degrees. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers this year have played 7 games in 38 or below temperatures. They've played 7 games colder than the Rams have experienced this season alone. And the big storyline for this game, Packers versus Rams, is the fact that the Green Bay Packers have the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL, and the Los Angeles Rams have the number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. The Packers average 31.8 points per game this season, and that's a full point higher than anyone else in the NFC. And the Rams allowed the fewest points per game this season. They only allowed 18.5 points per game, which is 2 points fewer than anyone else in the NFC. It is a true match between the ones. Only 3 teams this season have scored more than 24 points against this Rams defense. That was Buffalo, Miami, and Arizona. And Green Bay has been held to under 24 points just twice this year, in Tampa and the loss to the Minnesota Vikings. It truly is a crazy matchup to think about it. It's stats on paper, it's a crazy matchup. The eye test says it's a crazy matchup based on how the Rams defense played this past weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. It's a crazy matchup. And on the offensive side of the ball for this Green Bay Packers team, the battle starts up front, like it always does, but in this week more than others. The Rams' defensive line has been a huge problem for nearly every single team they went up against this year. They were able to sack Russell Wilson 5 times in the wild card game. And their entire defense, their defensive line, but really their entire defense is spearheaded by Aaron Donald. He's coming off his 4th straight regular season with double-digit sacks. He had 13 and a half this season, which is just wild for a nose tackle but nose tackle. He's in the running for his 3rd straight Defensive Player of the Year award. The Rams' defensive line finished 2nd in the league with 53 sacks on the year, and it really is going to be the toughest matchup of the year for this Packers offensive line, who's had a stellar season of their own. They've only given up 21 sacks all year long, which makes them 2nd best in the league. So there's another stalemate we have there. The 2nd best pass rush in the NFL is coming to Green Bay to go up against the 2nd best offensive line in the NFL. And although Aaron Donald got hurt against Seattle, he was grimacing in pain. He missed nearly the entire second half. I could have sworn he punctured a lung by the way the reports were coming in that he couldn't breathe, and by the way he was just grimacing in pain. You don't see Aaron Donald show any pain whatsoever generally, and he was in excruciating pain. So I honestly thought there's a chance he might not come in the game and play against the Packers in the divisional round, but it is being reported that he's expected to play. It's torn cartilage in his ribs, and although he won't be at 100%, he's going to be there, and the Packers' offensive line is going to need to touch him up every single time the ball is snapped. And without David Bakhtiari, I'm sure this Rams defensive line is looking at the Packers' offensive line like they're wounded, like they could probably smell blood in the water. But luckily, the Green Bay Packers were able to make a move just yesterday that just adds depth and familiarity at the tackle position. Yesterday, it was reported that the Green Bay Packers signed Jared Veldheer. For the 2nd year in a row, they have a late acquisition, Jared Veldheer. And interestingly enough, Jared Veldheer is about to become the first player in the history of the NFL to play for 2 different teams in the same playoff, which is crazy to think about. Obviously, it's happening due to COVID protocols and new rules written up for the COVID situation. And just this past Sunday or Saturday, Jared Veldheer was lined up as the starting left tackle for the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, the Colts lost, which allowed the Packers to come pick up Jared Veldheer. The only reason they're able to do it is because Veldheer was on the Colts practice squad, and he was a practice squad activation on game day. If he were to have been on the official 53-man roster, the Packers would not have been able to go and solidify some depth at this position. But since he was a practice squad activation on game day, Jared Veldheer's coming back to Green Bay. And kudos to Brian Gutekunst for making the move. It really is a move that, although he's not going to come in as a starter right away, he's not going to come in and be the starting tackle, but he does give the Green Bay Packers tons of options. Like last year, he comes in, Packers sign Jared Veldheer late December. He comes in for Week 17 and the playoff run, ends up getting some play time in Week 17 when Bulaga unfortunately went down with an ailment to one of his many duct-taped limbs or fingers or whatever was ailing him that day. Bulaga went down, and Veldheer came in and played very valuable snaps against the Detroit Lions in that Week 17 game. And then 2 weeks later in the divisional round, I was fortunate enough to be at that game, at the divisional round game last year against the Seattle Seahawks. Me and my cousin, and we get into the game real early. We're sitting down low by the wall, and we're watching everyone warm up, and Bulaga was out there for a brief moment, and then he goes running back to the locker room, never to be seen again. And unfortunately, Bulaga's bowels were irritated that night. There was a gnarly flu going around the team, and Bulaga wasn't able to go for the divisional round matchup. But Valdir stepped in, and there was practically a seamless transition. He did not play bad. He was a solid rock at that right tackle position when the Packers needed him most. And adding Valdir gives the Packers those same options as they go on this playoff run. Obviously, he's not starting. And I think it's fair to assume that the Packers will start the game with the expected lineup of Billy Turner at left tackle, Elton Jenkins at left guard, Corey Linsley at the center, Lucas Patrick at right guard, and Rick Wagner at right tackle. But let's just say, God forbid, Aaron Donald just starts going to town on Lucas Patrick. If I had to think, he's going to be pretty much trying to line up with Lucas Patrick every chance he gets. They're going to be scheming him towards Lucas Patrick because the Packers' offensive line has played great all season long. But if you had to pick one weak spot on that offensive line based on the game film displayed this season, it's obviously Lucas Patrick. And God forbid things start going awry and Aaron Donald is wreaking havoc on the interior of the offensive line. In a perfect world, that never happens. But let's just say, for this hypothetical, it does. The Packers will then be able to shift Billy Turner back to the right guard position, keep Wagner at the tackle, and move Valdir to that left tackle position, fortifying the interior of the offensive line, and really forcing guys on the outside to start beating them, like Floyd, or that guy with an extremely complex last name that I won't even try to pronounce. It's a crazy last name, but he's a beast as well. Also, having Valdir on the sideline obviously makes him the first lineman to come off the bench, really no matter what scenario goes down. Again, hopefully Valdir won't have to see the field. But God forbid someone gets hurt, someone goes down with an injury. Thanks to the versatility of Elton Jenkins and Billy Turner and Lucas Patrick, their ability to play multiple positions on the offensive line, having Jared Valdir there allows for a comfortable transition to a veteran tackle, a huge tackle, 6'8", to come in and fill the hole and allow the offensive line to adjust to whatever might be thrown their way. Think about it. If Billy Turner goes down at left tackle, obviously Jared Valdir can simply just come in and step in at the left tackle position. If Elton Jenkins, knock on wood, goes down for any reason, Valdir could come in at the left tackle position. Billy can swing to the right guard, and Lucas Patrick can bump right over to the left guard position, something he's done multiple times this season. If Linsley goes down, he's been battling through injuries all season long. Jenkins can move to center, Lucas Patrick to left guard, Turner to the right guard, and you put Valdir at left tackle. And the list goes on. No matter who goes down, Valdir could come in at left tackle, and it'll be a seamless transition. He knows the system. He came in last year. He knows the deal. He's a hardened veteran. And I cannot be happier that Goot went and made a move like this. For all the headaches that Goot causes, you can't knock the man's ability to fix up an O-line. He's shown it time and time again. And ultimately, this game is going to come down to the offensive line. It is the most important factor in the outcome of the game for the Green Bay Packers. The Rams' pass rush is elite, and when they get going, life just becomes that much more easy for their stellar secondary and Jalen Ramsey. Their pass rush needs to be contained for a full 4 quarters. And if you really think about it, in the Matt LaFleur era, the Green Bay Packers have lost only 7 games, all of which were due to other teams getting after Aaron Rodgers, making him uncomfortable in the pocket, forcing him out, forcing him to throw it away, forcing him to throw errant passes. And it really comes down to the play of the offensive line. Got to look for them to continue their stellar play and performance, even though Bakhtiari's not going to be there. They've got some depth, re-added depth to that position group with the acquisition of Jared Valdir. And it really was a perfect move for Good to go and do. Another way of protecting Aaron Rodgers that is a must this upcoming weekend against the Los Angeles Rams is establishing the run game. By establishing the run game, setting up the play-action pass, and avoiding third and long situations, which has been another Achilles heel of the Green Bay Packers over the past 2 years. When things aren't going well for them, they're looking at a lot of third and longs, a lot of second and longs. But by establishing the run game, you could make sure that does not happen. And by doing so, not only does the whole offensive playbook open up on those second and manageable, third and short situations, but it will hopefully lead to dominance in the time of possession, which is something that is very critical in this matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are a team that prides themselves on their ability to hold the ball, wear opposing defenses down with slow, methodical drives, and relying on the backbone, which is their number one ranked defense. So establishing the run game early not only makes the Packers evens the time of possession, if not gives the Packers an advantage of time of possession, which is something that they rely on as well. But it opens up the entire playbook and it protects Aaron Rodgers. Having the run game going early protects Aaron Rodgers, and that's something that is the most crucial to the Packers' success on Saturday. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, MVP Rodgers, is going to be dialed in and ready to go. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to have a dominant performance, continued success from the regular season. But there's been major discussion surrounding the all-pro matchup between Davante Adams and Jalen Ramsey. It's really all people could talk about. They talk about the offense versus defense, more specifically, Adams versus Ramsey. And don't get me wrong, Jalen Ramsey has been absolutely dominant this season. He's been absolutely dominant over the course of his career. This year, he's consistently shut down two of the league's best receivers in DeAndre Hopkins and DK Metcalf. I believe the two of them only have 5 receptions all year against Jalen Ramsey. But Davante Adams is on another level. Davante Adams has put together perhaps the single greatest season in Packer wide receiver history. He had 115 receptions, nearly 1,400 yards, and 18 touchdowns in just 13 and a half games. And unlike DeAndre Hopkins and DK Metcalf, who were both great wide receivers in their own right, don't get me wrong, they're dominant wide receivers, top 5, easy. But Davante Adams brings something else to the table that those guys really do lack, and that's exquisite route running. Stephon Diggs is the only wide receiver to really have a game against Jalen Ramsey all year long, and it's primarily due to Diggs' amazing route running himself. And Davante Adams is just a better Stephon Diggs when it comes to route running. There's not a route Diggs could run that Davante can. And really, Davante Adams is a matchup problem. I doubt the Rams will be going one-on-one the entire game against Davante Adams. There's not one team in the league that has been able to do that so far. But I really do think Davante Adams is going to win that matchup. And yeah, this matchup is huge. It's exciting. It's obviously the matchup to watch in the game, and it's going to make a difference in the outcome, ultimately. And again, I do believe Davante Adams will win the matchup. He's going to have a nice-looking box score. He's going to have another solid playoff performance as Davante raises his level of play in the playoffs. But this is also a matchup against the Rams that allows the other weapons on the Packers team an opportunity to make plays and really alleviate pressure off of Davante Adams. Those secondary options for the Green Bay Packers, who have been scrutinized over the past 2 years and ultimately deemed not enough. Everyone but Davante Adams on the Packers' offensive side, not talking about the running backs strictly in the pass game, all the other weapons the Packers have been deemed not enough by the sports world. And this matchup provides them an opportunity to rewrite that whole narrative. The Rams aren't just a one-man show in the secondary. They're a deep group. They have Darius Williams and Troy Hill, who are two talented corners, especially in man coverage. And their two safeties, John Johnson, who's been there forever now, and Jordan Fuller, had terrific seasons of their own. They're a solid unit as a whole, and they're going to be looking to shut Davante Adams down. I have no doubt in my mind that they are not taking the other weapons that Aaron Rodgers has at his disposal very seriously at all, with maybe the exception of Tunyon. But their whole game plan is to take Davante Adams out of the game. And why? And it should be. He's that dynamic of a player. And really, it is up to Matt LaFleur to come up with a scheme and offensive game plan that not only moves Davante Adams around the entire formation, trying to get him in those single-man opportunities, but also a game plan that involves everyone else around Davante Adams, a game plan that establishes the other pass catchers on the rosters. And fortunately for us fans and the Packers as a whole, that is something Matt LaFleur has been able to do all season long. Big Bub Tunyon has really turned out to be a perfect fit in this Matt LaFleur offense. He caught 11 touchdowns this season. He averaged 9.9 yards per catch. He caught nearly 90% of his total targets. He's been an absolute machine. He's going to have chances to make big plays in this game. Allen Lazard really hasn't had a massive game since his return from that core muscle surgery, but he's been contributing. He averages 9.8 yards per target. He's a go-to on third downs, and he's totally come alive. He could totally come alive down this home stretch. He's shown it before. Last season in the playoffs, he had big catches. He came alive at the end of the year, went on that stellar run, and this season he started establishing himself as the number 2 guy. Unfortunately, he did go down with that injury after posting his best game of the year, over 120 yards receiving against the Saints. So don't be surprised if Lazard is making the most of his opportunities on Saturday, catching big plays, converting first downs, maybe a touchdown, who knows. Not to mention how good he is as a run blocker. Allen Lazard is a phenomenal run blocker. The running backs this year really haven't been that much of a factor in the pass game like they were in 2019. But both Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams have proved over and over again that they are reliable receivers, both as check down options and going deep. So I would honestly look for Matt LaFleur to do something a little different. Maybe bring back some of the looks he was throwing out there last year in the 2019 season by trying to move Jamal and move Aaron into situations where they get one-on-one matchups against linebackers, and maybe they can break off a big reception. And obviously, there's the MVS experience. Marquez Valdez-Scantling has shown numerous times that he can be a premier deep threat in the NFL. I mean, the guy averaged a league best 20.9 yards per catch this season. He tied the league for the league most for 40-plus yard receptions. He had 6. If it wasn't for 4 blatant drop 85-yard touchdown receptions that he dropped this year, MVS would be looking at a 1,000-yard, 10-touchdown season. He finished with over 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. And who knows? Maybe MVS has another one. The Rams secondary is not known this season for giving up big plays, but how nice would it be to see MVS break one out? The point I'm trying to make here is that this entire offseason, the Green Bay Packers, their organization, specifically Brian Gutekunst, they've received endless criticism for not acquiring another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. The draft came around. Everyone could have sworn wide receiver in the first round, if not wide receiver in that second-round pick. But definitely acquire another weapon for Aaron Rodgers through this draft. There's tons of young talent. Obviously, that's what the Packers are going to do. Nope, they don't. They do what they did. I don't even want to bring it up because it's not even worth the mental energy right now to think about draft night. But the narrative was that they did not do what they needed to do to surround Aaron Rodgers with the talent he needs to get over the hump. But over the course of this season, that narrative has slowly started to silence itself. The narrative has slowly gone away as the Packers have earned themselves the title of the number one offense in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers had a career season. He had won the greatest seasons of his entire Hall of Fame career. The offense was electric, and that narrative has slowly been quieted. But this Saturday, the Green Bay Packers offense, they have a chance to rewrite the entire narrative once and for all. In this matchup against the Rams on Saturday, they're going up against the legitimate number one defense in the NFL. A team that just dismantled the Seattle Seahawks and their stellar offense. A team that by no means is a pushover or an easy out. And the Packers have an opportunity to prove that they have surrounded Aaron Rodgers with the weapons needed to win a Super Bowl right now. This is the game. And they have the opportunity to rewrite the entire narrative on Saturday against the Los Angeles Rams. Going to go to a quick break here. When we come back, we're getting into the defensive side of the ball. Hey, it's an amazing one-on-one matchup for the Packers offense against this Rams defense, but the defense must show up. Get into the defense and look ahead to the NFC Championship game. Not to get too carried away, but we'll take a quick look ahead to what I think is going to come down. This is Weekly Cheese 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Aaron Rodgers with the wrist. Eddie Lacy with the truck stick. Clint Dix with the picks. Quick to pick the quarterback and get the upset. We got the NFC North sick. We got the NFC North lit. Face of the North in the North face. Winning if they need to score check. Stay on their radar. Big 52, we got Clay on their radar. They making plans of the playoffs. They know we gon' take off. They seeing Green Bay on their radar. They talking offensive defense. They know that we decent. They play us. They better watch AR. Number 18 on the bench when he come back. It's Liddy again. He gon' play like he hates y'all. Like a weeping, we a title town. Ain't the secret, this Pack City. Mike McCarthy with the play call when we touch down, that's a Rack City. Old line on the goal line, out route so the backs get it. Linebacks better slide down when we drive down, back to back winning. We win again, yeah. They counted us out, now we lead the division again. At the top of the route, 17 and Jody with the hands. AR-12 split the divas, you know that we winning again. AR-12 split the divas, you know that we winning again. They don't want to see the squad. They just watch us beat the lines. They don't want to see us blitz the number 52 and hit you from the side. Winning again, winning again. We got the division again. Winning again. They know that we got the division again.
Got them NFC North fans mad at Cheeseheads winning. We winning. Mid-season, we was near the bottom. Now we leading our division. Yeah. Them boys back up on the mission. Yeah. Just know that we coming for everything. The city lit. Clinton Dix with 2 picks in the best game. High 87 lead the league with no pro post. Frozen tundra where it's so cold. Blitz Rodgers, that's a no-no. Run the table, yeah, you know we did it. Postseason, know we coming with it. Better yet, we coming for it. Charged up, no Melvin Gordon. All-time leading scorer. Mason Crosby with the field goals. Bandwagons, we don't feel those. We marching on them, no steel toes. Got division on lock. We on top, no cellmate. I'm somewhere by Lambeau, and I'm with the skulls at the tailgate.
Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are 4-6, but they're at Philadelphia. They play Houston, Seattle. They got to play Minnesota, go to Detroit. This puppy's over.
They counted us out, now we lead the division again. At the top of the route, 17 and Jody with the hands. AR-12 split the divas, you know that we winning again. AR-12 split the divas, you know that we winning again. They don't want to see the squad. They just watch us beat the lines. They don't want to see us blitz the number 52 and hit you from the 4-6 to a 10-6. Had to run the table, now we back again. Aaron gunning like it's Pakistan.
From the bottom to elite. Redskins had his beat. After that one on the street, Clay with the pressure, Perry with the heat.
He got the heat on the outside. We bring the heat to your team every week. 50 D rockin' golden is green and his team make it outshine.
About time, Roger scramble to extend throws. Jordy Nelson in the end zone. I drop a bomb straight to 17. Completing throws they ain't never seen.
They never seen it coming, they was sleep. We put that cables on them, that's the D. We tried to wake up on them, that's the 3. Yeah.
If you was hating on us, take a seat. They throwing shade on us, that's a treat. They try to gain on us, incomplete.
Go back, go. We win again. Go back, go. We win again. Go back, go. We win again. We win again. We win again. They counted us out, now we lead the division again. At the top of the round, 17 and Jordy with the hands. AR-12 split the divas, you know that we winning again. AR-12 split the divas, you know that we winning again. They don't want to see the squad, they just want to beat the line. They don't want to see us blitz the number 52 and hit you from the side. Winning again, we got the division again. Winning again, they know that we got the division again.
Yeah, alright. Come on. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong. Green and gold, gifted and bold, our pride showing through all the way. By any test, we give our best with determination, pride and energy. My Green Bay Packers on to victory. Yeah. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong. Yeah, alright. Come on. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong. Green and gold, gifted and bold, our pride showing through all the way. By any test, we give our best with determination, pride and energy. My Green Bay Packers on to victory. Yeah. My Green Bay Packers, proud and strong. Standing tall above the rest, it's right where we belong. 'Cause we love the feeling of being number one. Pack proud and strong.
And we're back. It's the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And what you just listened to right there was Run the Table by the Wisco Kids and Pack Proud and Strong by the great Eddie J. Lemberger, the king of Packers music. Yeah, let's get into it. The defense. The defensive matchup that the Packers are facing in this divisional round against the Los Angeles Rams. Obviously, with all the hubbub surrounding the Packers' number one ranked offense versus the Rams' number one ranked defense and that matchup, did the Packers' defense versus the Rams' offense, that whole narrative has kind of taken a back seat in the headlines and in the talk in the sports media recently. But the Packers' defense is going to play just as big of a role as the offense in this win over the Los Angeles Rams. The Packers' defense needs to come out and continue to build upon their last performance against the Bears, which was a pretty solid one. They've been coming alive over the last 6 weeks of the regular season, and the Green Bay Packers defense needs to come out strong right from the get-go and make a statement that they're there to play. In their 3 losses this year, the Green Bay Packers only gave up a combined average of 204 passing yards. But in these games, they were absolutely lashed on the ground. In their 3 losses this season, the Packers gave up a total of 471 yards rushing and 5 rushing touchdowns. And based on what was put on the field this past week by the Los Angeles Rams, there is no reason to believe that the Rams aren't going to try to pound the ball right down the Packers' throat. With Goff's hand injury and everything they have going on at quarterback right now, it is very obvious that the Rams are going to be relying on their ability to run the ball and control the clock. Cam Akers, their running back, has been very good over the last quarter of the regular season, and he was able to just completely run all over the Seattle Seahawks defense, which, by the way, can't stop a nosebleed. But nonetheless, he had over 20 rushes for over 140 yards or something crazy like that. He had a day against the Seahawks. And that is why it is so important for this Packers defense to start the game strong, get off to an early lead, get off the field early, and stop the run. But if they are able to get out to an early lead, force some 3rd and longs for Jared Goff, they'll start forcing him to throw the ball down the field. And the Rams won't be able to run the ball ad nauseum like they were able to this past week, and like they really have been able to all year long. The Rams love to run the ball. They love to run the ball. It's the focal point of their entire offense. Even more so now that Goff is dealing with this injury, and he looked like he really couldn't even throw a ball. And it is up to Kenny Clark and company, the defensive line, to win the battle up front. The linebackers and safeties need to fill their gaps, finish their tackles, and the Green Bay Packers need to come out with the same attitude that they came out with against the Tennessee Titans and basically just say, we're here, and we're not allowing you to run the ball all over us. The Tennessee Titans game was a perfect example of what the Green Bay Packers have to try to do to the Rams on Saturday. Yeah, they're not going to completely shut down the Rams' running attack. I'm not expecting the Rams to be held to under 50 yards rushing or something wild like that. But the Green Bay Packers defense needs to contain that run. And it starts up front. Kenny Clark is going to need to come to play. No doubt that he will. It's going to be interesting to see what goes on with the snap count for guys like Dean Lowry and Tyler Lancaster, with Snacks now being in the loop for 3 weeks practically. He's definitely more caught up in the playbook, and I'm definitely going to have my eyes wide open to see if we could see what Snacks does out there, how many snaps he ends up taking. But the battle is on the ground. First and foremost, like every week with this Packers defense, they need to stop the run early. They need to force punts early in the game. They cannot allow the Rams to go on these 8, 9, 10 play drives that take 9, 10, 11 minutes off the clock. It simply can't happen because that's playing right into the Rams' hand. That's exactly what the Rams want to force in this game. And by stopping the run and and forcing Goff to throw the ball downfield, especially he's not a stellar quarterback as is when he's forced to throw the ball down the field and make decisions quickly in that matter. But now with his hand, forcing him to throw the ball downfield is the key to victory. Over the last 6 weeks of the regular season, the Green Bay Packers forced 9 turnovers, which is the same amount that they forced over the first 10 weeks of the season. There's been a dramatic increase in the amount of turnovers they've been forcing, and that really is due to their ability to pressure the quarterback. Since that Jacksonville game, the last 6 weeks of the season, the Packers' pass rush has been solid. It's been good. It's been what we expected them to be all season long. Rashawn Gary's getting into the mix. The Smiths are having a field day when Rashawn Gary is playing the way he has been playing. And getting after the quarterback, getting after Goff on Saturday, making him uncomfortable, forcing him to make quick reads and try to get the ball out. It's going to force him to throw errant passes, and there's going to be turnovers to be had in the secondary. It is very important. Stop the run, rush the passer, force Goff to throw the ball down the field, and force these turnovers. The Rams' offense is not incredible by any stretch of the imagination. The Rams' offense is not unstoppable. It's going to come down to the Green Bay Packers doing what they need to do early, establishing themselves with the run defense, winning the battle up front, and then once Goff is in these uncomfortable situations, second and long, third and long, rushing him and getting after him with the pass rush. A key matchup to keep in mind is Zadarius Smith and Whitworth. The 39-year-old offensive lineman for the Rams is still going strong, and they don't have a pushover of an offensive line. It's going to be very, very crucial that Rashawn Gary, Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, and these guys get going when Goff is dropping back to pass. And by forcing these errant passes, again, the secondary will have a field day, and we will see one, if not more, turnovers. And the secondary is going to continue playing well. The Green Bay Packers secondary has been solid all season long, and in the month of December, they have just taken their game to a completely new level. Kevin King is back and healthy, and things are just rolling for that secondary unit. And they need to continue that against the Rams on Saturday. The Rams have two solid receivers, both thrive in the yards after catch statistic, Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. Jair Alexander is obviously going to be on a mission after being snubbed from the first team All-Pro list. Snubbed for Jalen Ramsey, as a matter of fact. So look for Jair Alexander to just completely shut Robert Woods down, take him out of the game completely. And then it's going to be up to Kevin King and Chandon Sullivan to do their jobs in containing Cooper Kupp. Kupp is returning from an injury, and he is a dynamic player for that Rams offense. He moves all around the formation. He loves lining up in the slot, and he catches these short little passes and just breaks out. He's a tough runner. He's fast. He's deceptively quick. And it's going to be up to Kevin King and Chandon Sullivan to come ready to play. Kevin King needs to follow up his two solid performances in weeks 16 and 17, and he needs to be even better against the Rams. And with Kupp returning from injury, it's been a question mark if he was going to be back. But since he is, Kevin King and Chandon Sullivan need to do their part. And obviously, Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage are going to need to continue what they've been doing over the past month of football. They're going to do their part in the pass game. Darnell Savage is the fastest player on the field back there. He is a hawk on that football. But it's more important that they continue to contribute in the run defense. In December, it seemed like Mike Pettin had an epiphany, and he started making some adjustments to the defensive schematics. And Adrian Amos has been lining up a lot more in the box, helping with the run defense, and it's been working. It really has been working, and that's something that's going to need to continue in this home stretch throughout this playoffs. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I really do not believe the Rams offense has what it takes to get the job done. And I believe the Packers defense will go out and have a very strong showing, similar to that they had against the Tennessee Titans. They're going to come ready to stop the run. They're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. They're going to force Goff to throw the ball, get after him when he does, force turnovers in the process. And this Packers defense is going to continue to improve. They've been steadily improving all season long for this moment, for the playoffs. Last year, they were completely humiliated in the NFC Championship game against that 49ers team. Completely humiliated. And that's pretty much the same cast of characters. Few different faces here and there, but it's the same core of guys. And don't get it twisted, they are ready, hungry, and determined to rewrite the narrative that surrounds themselves. On offense, the Packers are looking to rewrite the narrative and prove that they have enough pieces to get the job done when it counts most. And on defense, they're out to set a new narrative that the Packers defense is legit, and And they remember last year, and they're ready to take the playoffs by storm. I really do think it's going to be a very complete performance from the Green Bay Packers. And they're going to win. My prediction is the Green Bay Packers win Saturday night's game against the Los Angeles Rams 31-17. They will advance to the NFC Championship game, which will be held at Lambeau Field, the frozen tundra, on January 24th. Against either the New Orleans Saints or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I do believe that Tampa Bay will end up beating the Saints in their divisional round matchup, and the Packers will be matching up against the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game. The Buccaneers have lost 2 games already this season to the New Orleans Saints, and beating a team 3 times in one NFL season is a very difficult thing to do. It is very difficult, especially when both teams are as good as the Saints and the Buccaneers. That, coupled with the fact that I do believe it is destined that Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady have an NFC Championship matchup in Brady's first season in the NFC. It just feels like it's destiny that it's going to happen. And it makes me almost certain that the Packers will be hosting Tampa on January 24th. And on January 24th, after the Packers have a complete team victory and secure the win over the Los Angeles Rams, like I said, 31-17, Aaron Rodgers is going to solidify himself as the greatest quarterback of all time by beating Tom Brady and his completely stacked roster over there in Tampa Bay as they come to Lambeau Field for an epic matchup in the NFC Championship game. The Packers' Super Bowl run is lined up before our very eyes. I feel very good about it. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm confident. I'm anxious. I'm feeling the whole list of emotions right now surrounding this Packers postseason run, and it all begins on Saturday. The Packers need to take care of business. The offense, they're going to have their work cut out for them. A very good defense. It starts up front with that O-line. Jared Veldheer adding that much-needed depth that we lost with the injury of David Bakhtiari. But the battle needs to be won up front. It will be won up front. Aaron Rodgers is going to have himself a day, the league MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, Devontae Adams, is going to have himself a day. And the number 1 ranked offense is going to get the job done, even against the very strong Los Angeles Rams defense, the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL. And on the defensive side of the ball, the Packers will rewrite the narrative and have a complete game from start to finish. I can feel it in my body. And this is the year. Just like the song, Secure the Trophy, it's time to bring Vince back to Titletown, and it all begins on Saturday. Thank you all for tuning in, everyone. This has been the playoff preview edition of the Weekly Cheese. My name is Joe Ivan, and I'll be talking to you guys next week. I'll be talking to everyone out there next week as we all get ready for the NFC Championship game. Whoever's coming to town, doesn't matter. Packers got to take care of business this week, Saturday night. Talk to everyone next week. This has been the Weekly Cheese, 90.3 WESS, East Stroudsburg University, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And as always, remember, the cheese stands alone. Have a good night, everyone. Be safe.
Yeah. Back of country. My old green card. Let's go. We playing Dom Capers defense, Edgar Bennett offense. Run the table when they think we lost it. Aaron jumped the defense offset.